What if the moment you detached was the exact moment she unraveled? Not because she lost you, but because she finally realized she never had control over you to begin with. Let me ask you this. Why is it that the second you stop texting, stop checking her stories, stop trying to fix what she broke, she starts watching, starts wondering, starts spiraling? It's because silence is louder than begging, detachment is deadlier than anger, and a man who no longer reacts becomes a man she can no longer manipulate. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about making her jealous or playing some childish game. This is about reclaiming your soul. You gave your heart to someone who didn't value it. You kept showing up, hoping she'd see your worth, but all she saw was a man too afraid to walk away. Today, that ends. Because the day you choose detachment is the day you stop bleeding for someone who wouldn't even offer a bandage. It's the day you turn pain into purpose, emotion into control, weakness into fuel. She thought you'd fall apart without her. She didn't expect you to rise. And when you do, when your silence becomes deafening, your presence becomes powerful, and your energy shifts from "please come back" to "don't come near," that's when the spiral begins, not yours. Heron. If you're done explaining yourself, if you're ready to become the storm she can't predict, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. My silence is my power. This audio is the original content of Marcus Aurelius' Way. Unauthorized copying, re-uploading, or reproduction is strictly prohibited and may result in a copyright claim or strike. Now let's begin. Number 1. Pain is the beginning of power. Heartbreak feels like death, but it's actually rebirth. You think your world just collapsed. But the truth is, the world you built wasn't strong to begin with. It was fragile. It was built on her attention, her approval, her presence, the late-night texts, the fake promises, the maybe someday. But Stoicism teaches that the moment you attach your peace to anything external, a woman, a relationship, even your idea of love, you've already lost, because whatever can be taken from you owns you. She didn't break you, she exposed what was already broken. And yeah, it burns. The silence after being ghosted, the sudden coldness from someone who once swore they cared, that twisting feeling in your gut when you see her moving on like you never mattered. But pain, real pain, is a gift. It's a brutal, honest teacher, and its first lesson is this: you were never in control of her, only yourself. So now you've got two choices: drown in that pain and let it define you, or use it, build with it, forge yourself in it. Because a man who's never been broken is a man who's never had to rebuild, and rebuilding is where the strength comes from. It's in the gym when you don't feel like showing up. It's in the silence when you don't text back. It's in the discipline to focus on your path when every emotion screams at you to chase her. Pain is the alarm clock. It's the wake-up call to stop living for someone else and start living by principle. A Stoic man doesn't chase what left him. He reflects, rebuilds, and reclaims his power. She walked away thinking you'd crumble. What she didn't know is that pain doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous. Because now you've got nothing left to lose and everything to become. This is the beginning of your power. Number 2. Silence speaks louder than begging. The moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you start commanding respect. Every time you sent another "can we talk" text, every time you tried to convince her of your worth, all she heard was weakness. Desperation doesn't inspire love, it kills attraction. And here's the cold truth. She knew you were hurting. She just didn't care enough to respond. That silence you feared, she used it to control you. She fed off the power of knowing you were still waiting. But what happens when you stop chasing? When you don't reach out? When the phone stays silent? Not because she isn't answering, but because you're no longer asking. That's when the game flips. That's when your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. Women don't respond to words. They respond to energy, and silence is pure energy. It says, "I'm done proving myself. I've seen enough." You see, people confuse silence with weakness. But silence is precision. It's discipline. It's calculated distance. Begging is reactive. Silence is strategic. You're not ghosting her. You're removing yourself from the role of the clown dancing for her attention. You're not punishing her. You're protecting yourself. The Stoic path requires restraint, not because you're scared, but because you're finally aware of your value. She expected your texts, your rants, your breakdowns. She didn't expect your indifference. And now, in the quiet, she starts to hear her own thoughts, and they won't be kind. Let them torment her. That's not your concern anymore. Stay silent, stay stoic, and watch what happens. Number 3, attention is her oxygen. Starve it. She doesn't need your love. She needs your attention. That's the real currency, your time, your energy, your focus. Those are the things she fed on, not because she loved you, but because your validation made her feel powerful. She'd leave you on read, post thirst traps, say just enough to keep you hopeful. Why? Because she knew you'd react. And the moment you react, you reinforce her control. Attention is oxygen to someone who craves validation. So what happens when you cut the supply? What happens when you stop watching her stories, stop liking her pictures, stop orbiting her world like a satellite? She starts gasping. She starts questioning. Not because she misses you, but because the spotlight's gone, and now she has to sit in the dark with herself. Understand this. The more attention you give a woman who disrespected you, the more you teach her that disrespect has no consequence. You reward her for walking away by chasing her down. You show her she can replace effort with crumbs, and you'll still show up starving. That ends now. A Stoic man doesn't throw his attention around like confetti. He's selective, strategic, guarded, because he knows that attention is power, and he only gives it to what aligns with his purpose. She's not your purpose. She was your distraction. You want to truly make her spiral. Ignore her existence, not with hatred, not with anger, with complete emotional detachment. The moment she sees that she no longer affects you, that's the moment the walls start closing in on her. Starve her of what she thought she owned. Attention is her oxygen. Cut it off and let her choke. Number 4, emotions lie. Discipline tells the truth. Your emotions will tell you to text her, to check in, to remind her that you still care. They'll scream that walking away means you're losing her. But here's the truth. Your emotions are liars. They're impulsive, erratic, and easily manipulated. That's why Stoic mastery begins with emotional control, not suppression. Control. You don't deny your feelings, you observe them. You don't act on them, you discipline them. Because every time you follow your emotions, you hand her the reins. You give her the power to dictate your mood, your moves, your mindset. She ghosts you, you panic. She replies, you feel high. That's emotional slavery. And a man at the mercy of his emotions is a man who will always be broken by women who know how to trigger them. Discipline is the antidote. It's the voice that says, no, we don't chase. We build, we heal, we grow. It's the force that gets you out of bed at 5 a.m. It's what keeps your phone on silent when her name lights it up. It's what pushes you through the workout when your mind's still stuck in the past. You think healing is about time passing. It's not. Healing is about actions repeated in spite of emotion. That's discipline. She expected you to act out, to spiral, to lash out. That's why your calm hits harder than any angry text ever could. It unsettles her, because it tells her, I feel the pain, and I'm still in control. That's terrifying to someone who thought they broke you. Let the emotions rise. Let them burn. Then choose discipline anyway. That's where your power lives. Number 5, level up in silence, return in power. Don't announce your comeback. Build it in silence. She walked away thinking you'd sit in the ruins, crying over what you lost. But while she's watching your old stories and stalking your page for signs of weakness, you go dark. You vanish. Not to run, to rebuild. You're not texting, you're not posting, you're training. You're stacking wins. You're reinventing yourself in the shadows, where nobody sees the grind, only the results. This is the Stoic path, quiet transformation. You don't tell her you're leveling up. You show her when you no longer care if she sees it. Because the truth is, if she didn't value you at your lowest, she doesn't deserve front-row seats to your rise. Let her hear about it second-hand. Let her scroll through your new life and feel the weight of her mistake. This isn't about flexing. This is about becoming a man who doesn't need validation, who doesn't chase closure, who doesn't circle back to places that disrespected him. Your glow-up isn't revenge. It's a side effect of healing, a byproduct of putting yourself first. Better body, sharper mind, stronger boundaries. You disappear, and when you return, you're unrecognizable. And by the time she reaches out, because she will, she won't be speaking to the same man. She'll be speaking to the version of you she never had access to. And now, she never will. Silence isn't weakness, it's preparation. And when the world finally sees what you've become, it'll be too late for her to matter. Number 6. The one who cares less controls more. It's brutal, but it's true. The one who cares less always has the upper hand. Relationships aren't built on love alone. They're built on power dynamics. And whether you admit it or not, she felt that shift. She felt when you started needing her more than she needed you. She saw it in your eyes. She heard it in your voice. And the moment she sensed that imbalance, she started pulling back. Not out of malice, but instinct. People chase what's scarce. They devalue what's guaranteed. Every time you overinvested, every time you responded too fast, chased too hard, folded just to keep her, she collected more leverage. And once she knew she had you, the effort stopped. That's how attraction dies. Not in arguments, in imbalance. But now the roles reverse. You've detached. You've taken back your time, your attention, your peace. You've stopped reacting. That flips the script. Suddenly she can't read you. She can't predict you. And that mystery, that lack of control, it drives her insane. Because what she thought she'd always have is now walking with purpose in a direction that doesn't include her. The Stoic doesn't chase emotional highs. He doesn't collapse when affection is withdrawn. He stays rooted, grounded, indifferent. That indifference, that's power. Because now she's the one questioning. She's the one wondering, why isn't he reaching out? Who has his attention now? Care less, not to be cruel, but to be free. Because the man who needs nothing controls everything. Number 7. She wanted a reaction. Give her indifference. She didn't want closure. She wanted control. That's the part most men miss. When she started arguments out of nowhere, when she disappeared and came back acting cold, it wasn't random. It was a test. She wanted to see if she still had the strings, if she could push your buttons and make you dance. It was never about the issue. It was about the reaction. Because as long as you reacted, you were still hers. And let's be honest, you gave it to her. You argued. You chased. You explained yourself over and over, hoping logic would fix what was designed to be chaos. But a woman who's playing games isn't looking for peace. She's looking for dominance. And your reactions fed her ego. But then, you stopped. You didn't argue. You didn't respond. You didn't flinch. You gave her nothing to feed off. And that's when the spiral begins. Not because she's heartbroken, but because you took away the mirror she used to validate her control. Your indifference is unsettling. It says, I'm done performing. It says, you don't get that power anymore. The Stoic man knows that reaction is currency, and he spends it wisely. He doesn't scream to be heard. He goes silent to be respected. And in that silence, her mind turns on her. She replays everything, every word, every moment, trying to figure out how she lost grip. That's the twist. She was never looking for love. She was looking for control. And now, she's got neither. Don't give her the drama she wants. Give her the nothing she can't handle. Number 8. You were the prize the whole time. She didn't leave because you weren't good enough. She left because she didn't recognize your value, yet. And that's not your flaw. That's her short-sightedness. You bent over backwards to make her happy. You gave, you showed up, you stayed loyal. But when someone doesn't know how to receive love, they'll sabotage it. They'll convince themselves you're too much, when in reality you were more than enough, too real, too stable, too present for someone addicted to chaos. The truth is, she was never the prize. You were. She just had better marketing. She knew how to act unavailable, how to be mysterious, how to keep you chasing. And in that chase, you forgot your own worth. You thought her attention was the reward. It wasn't. The reward was always your energy, your time, your commitment, and she wasted it. But now that energy is off the table. Now you've remembered who you are. And when you stop pedestalizing her and start building yourself, everything shifts. Suddenly, she's watching from the outside, realizing she fumbled a man who was already rare, now upgraded, untouchable, and uninterested. A Stoic man doesn't beg to be seen. He knows his worth, with or without applause. He doesn't prove it through words. He proves it through how easily he walks away from anything that no longer aligns with his peace. You were never meant to chase. You were meant to choose. And now, she's just another reminder of what you'll never tolerate again, because the prize doesn't chase. The prize is pursued, and she lost her shot. Number 9. Your detachment is her mirror. You want to know what truly haunts her. It's not your words, not your posts, not your silence alone. It's what your detachment reflects back at her. Because the moment you stop reacting, stop caring, stop chasing, that's when she's forced to look inward. And what she sees isn't pretty. You were her emotional punching bag, her therapist, her fan club. You absorbed her chaos, and in doing so, you protected her from facing it. But the second you withdrew your energy, she had no one left to project it onto. Now she's stuck with the real enemy, herself. Detachment isn't just you pulling away. It's you holding up a mirror. It shows her the parts she tried to bury beneath attention and control. Your calmness exposes her instability. Your peace highlights her disorder. Your indifference triggers every insecurity she thought she'd buried. Because if you can live without her, if you can thrive without her presence, then maybe she was never as special as she told herself. A Stoic man doesn't detach to hurt. He detaches to heal. But in that process, he becomes a threat to anyone still playing games, because now she can't guilt you, can't bait you, can't touch you. And in that distance, she starts unraveling. She wanted to keep you as a safety net, a fallback, a fan. But now, you're just a ghost with purpose, and every time she remembers your name, it echoes against her own emptiness. That's what detachment does. It doesn't just free you, it exposes her. Number 10. The spiral begins when you let go. You thought the spiral began when she walked away, but it doesn't. It begins the moment you let go, when you stop replaying conversations in your head, when you stop wondering if she'll come back, when you stop needing closure and realize her silence was the answer. That's when it hits her. Not all at once, but gradually, painfully, relentlessly. At first, she feels free, untethered, like she's the one in control. But then the messages stop, the reactions vanish, your name disappears from her notifications, her followers, her world. And that silence, it grows louder every day. Because when a man truly detaches, his absence becomes a presence she can't ignore. She scrolls, she waits, she wonders. Not because she misses the version of you she left, but because she's realizing that version evolved without her. That the man who once begged is now unreachable. Not because he hates her, but because he's healed. That's what terrifies her. Not that you moved on, but that you moved up. This is Stoic mastery, when her spiral no longer matters, when her regret doesn't move you, when her name doesn't trigger anything but gratitude for the lesson she thought you'd chase. Instead, you chose yourself. And that choice, that's the beginning of her downfall. Let her spiral. You're free. You wanted peace. She wanted power. You wanted connection. She wanted control. But now, you've taken all of it back. Your time, your focus, your strength. You've seen what happens when you chase. Now you know what happens when you don't. This wasn't about her spiral. That was just a side effect. This was about your rise, your evolution into a man who leads with discipline, not desperation. A man who doesn't need closure, because he's already closed the door. Stoic mastery isn't about revenge. It's about detachment. Let her spiral. Let her wonder. Let her feel the emptiness she tried to fill with your attention. You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're just done. And that kind of calm, that kind of silence, that's a storm she never saw coming. If you're done chasing ghosts, if you're ready to reclaim your power, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below, "My silence is my power."